Today's episode of She's All Fat is brought to you by Undersummers, a company founded by Carrie Ray. Their soft and comfy shortlet slip shorts will quickly become your go-to thigh-protecting panty for underskirts and dresses year-round.
As someone who suffers from HS, as well as regular old sweaty thighs, I swear by Undersummers. They are the perfect solution for chafing, and my favorite part is that they explicitly don't try to pull in your tummy or restrict your waist.
Their super soft laces, fabrics, and trims are carefully chosen to make you love your thighs, and their products come in tons of fun colors in sizes small to 5X.
We love Undersummers, and we think you will too. Right now, SAF listeners can use code SAF10 for $10 off your purchase. And as always, free shipping on orders over $50 worldwide. Check them out at www.undersummers.com and use code SAF10. As a documentary of how feminism is being co-opted to just sell products, I found it very compelling.
What a fresh hell this is. It is realistic.
Calling body posse sisters, hush those diet culture whispers. We like your body big or small, rolls and ripples all for all. Sit on down, it's time to chat. She's all fat.
I'm Sophie,
I'm April, and this is She's All Fat.
the podcast for body positivity, radical self-love, and chill vibes only. This week, we'll discuss summer jams, nude underwear, and the movie I Feel Pretty.
All right, y'all, we're back.
Okay.
We missed you last week. Our episode vanished.
It vanished, and this time, like the first time, there was a lot of grieving. There was a lot of mourning. Like, April sat across from me while I, tried 3 different programs to go through the SD card, and Maria, coached us over the phone. But this time, I really just felt empty inside.
It was just over, and it was, at the point in our production schedule where we could never re-record.
And we couldn't. We didn't have the time.
Just dead.
Just gone. And now we're like a real podcast because it's finally happened. So
Listen, y'all have stuck with us, and I deeply appreciate it.
Yeah.
What a sad time.
I really missed the people who usually listen and tweet us or Instagram us about
Yes.
it. I missed getting those. I love getting those.
I love those.
It's really, and just the lack of them just felt like a larger sign of disappointment than telling us they missed it could have been, They were just
The silence spoke volumes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really sorry, y'all. And
we're back.
We're back, and April, are you obsessed with the same things as last week or new
No,
things?
I changed them.
Okay.
Those are dead. Those are gone. You'll never know what I was obsessed with last week.
I don't remember.
It was my friends because it was after my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And some song probably.
Okay.
Okay.
What are you obsessed with?
All right. First thing I'm obsessed with this week. So last weekend, unfortunately, I missed Flyover because I was very ill. I don't want to get into it.
You don't want her to get into it.
You don't want me to get into it?
Suffice it to say it was bad enough after 3 days that April went to 3 different hospitals. So
I went to the first hospital and they wouldn't take my insurance. I went to the next one and I left because it was honestly too dirty and I'm too good for that shit. There was no soap in the bathroom.
It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry, but that's where I draw the line. Yeah. Then I went to Cedars-Sinai where I witnessed a woman carrying around a bag of her own vomit and then screaming every time she threw up. A man who had a bloody gash in his face asking for my phone number. An elderly woman who had slammed her own finger in the car door on her birthday and was very fine with it even though her finger was hanging off.
Jesus Christ.
And I was just there can you please just check my blood and urine? Thank you so much. Anyway, I did get through that experience. I am on the up and up. Am I totally 100%? Absolutely not. But you know what?
Jeez.
I am doing my very best. So all that to say, the first thing I'm obsessed with is my mother this week. So I just gave you that description about how I've been ill for the past 5 days, right? So yesterday, I get this voicemail from my mom just absolutely skewering me. And I need to share it.
Your teeth brown. You hardly brown, you brush your teeth. You take your time and brush your teeth. You know, when you talk, people are looking in your mouth, and if your teeth look yellow, they stop listening to you. Did you know that? The words that come out of your mouth now, they don't pay attention to it anymore. They just find out your teeth don't look clean. So I don't care how intelligent, whatever come out of your mouth sounds intelligent, they lose it. They don't listen anymore.
Oh my God.
Just an absolute roasting. So for no reason at all. My mother knows I'm homesick. She's like, by the way, your teeth are yellow. Why?
Also, they're not.
I mean, her teeth are very white. My mom is a supermodel. So she's always like, can you please be hotter?
Jesus.
I'm like, sorry. But I just think it's so funny. I like, honestly,
Damn.
I'm obsessed with my mother, and that she always just very much keeps me humble. She's like, I don't care how cool you think you are or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, your teeth are yellow. you have room for improvement.
Wow.
So I'm obsessed with my mother. I'm obsessed with that rude-ass voicemail. Also, do I check all my voicemails? No. Do I check the ones from my mom? Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
Like, come on. My next obsession is a song by the ever problematic Azalea Banks.
She is doing some more shit this week,
Oh,
April. Are you
she's in
sure
some
you want to
shit.
have
Here's
her
the
be...
thing. No. I want to talk about it.
Okay.
I want to talk about it.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. All I need to get through a summer is my pop hits to keep me going. I need my song of the summer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm at a point with pop music where I have to stoop to the ever problematic Azalea Banks, who is banned from Twitter for bullying Zayn Malik from One Direction.
Jesus.
Literally, for someone who has been consistently Islamophobic, homophobic, problematic on every single front. But all that to say, I'm forced to listen to the music of Azalea Banks this summer because my pop divas are not serving it up.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande, I'm adding you. That No Tears Left to Cry bullshit, I never want to hear that again in my goddamn life.
April showed it to me after we lost the episode because she thought it would cheer me
you
up.
or distract you, honestly.
And we just watched it, and then I was like, I just feel more blank.
It made me so filled with rage. Here's what I have to say to all pop divas. Literally, Drake and Beyonce cannot do this by themselves. You need to pull your weight. This is ridiculous. It should not be May, and we're really wondering what the song of the summer is going to be. Ariana Grande, you disappeared off the face of the earth for 6 months saying you were in the lab working on your goods, and you bring that shit? Absolutely not.
Tweet us your songs of the summer.
And also, tweet us your thoughts about, like, consuming the media of problematic faves, because do I feel guilty every time I give Azalea a click? Absolutely. Is Anna Wintour fire? Absolutely. I'm enjoying the tunes. But no, to be clear, I don't mean if your problematic fave is R. Kelly. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, do you still like Teenage Dream even though Katy Perry loves to wear cornrows? You know what I mean? Where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you on the spectrum? Anyway, I'm obsessed with the problematic Azalea Banks' song Anna Wintour and that rude ass voicemail. My mom left me.
Wow.
She roasted the fuck out of me. What are you obsessed with?
Can I play that voicemail from my mom? Can
Oh
we
my
just
God, please.
do dueling voicemails?
Please.
Okay, so I would say these two voicemails are like a really good encapsulation of the differences between our moms. By the way, I have 3 unheard voicemails from my mom.
Oh no.
Well, Sophie, you're always worried about your mom's health and such, which is very nice. But you might want to worry about your mom getting arrested in this political climate. I just created an incident at Starbucks. So, I'll tell you about it when you have time. Bye.
Okay.
Iconic. Please give them a picture of Margaret for the people at home.
My mom has a doctorate in British literature. Yeah. She has a doctorate in 18th century British literature with like a minor concentration in French and American and also like other centuries literature. She also, when I called her, kind of panicked last week being like, and April's not coming to Iowa anymore because she's in the hospital. She was like, okay, I'll get on a plane. I'm coming to Iowa. I was like, it's okay. I am 27 years old. But both of our moms are like always there for us.
Yes, love our moms. Obsessed with our moms.
Yeah.
In the last episode, I said, I love my mommy so much, I would breastfeed if I could.
It was so fucking weirdest. That's the only thing I'm glad we'll never have to hear again.
Keep it in, Maria.
No. My mom we love going antiquing together and watching the first 20 minutes of any movie at night before she falls asleep.
So sweet.
Her 1 glass of white wine. She's just like a good, like, bougie white mom.
She's a feminist.
Yeah.
She's not about that bullshit.
Oh, no, she's a hardcore white feminist. But, like, hardcore feminist who's
Trying
white
her
lady.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean,
take that
she's a
part
white
out.
lady and she's a feminist.
Yeah, she's great. I heard this voicemail and I was like, what? And I called my mom. Apparently, this is because of obviously the like thing that happened in Starbucks a couple of weeks ago where those 2 men were arrested for like absolutely no reason. And then people were like protesting and shit. And they are going to do that like day of training. And so my mom was in a Starbucks and she was just chatting with the barista and was like, oh, is this Starbucks doing the training? And like, isn't it good that they're doing the training and blah, blah, blah. And then this lady behind her was basically like, I think it's bad. And like talking about how her daughter worked at Starbucks and she would encourage her to report anyone because lots of black men have guns.
Great.
And homeless people are terrifying. And they were probably scared for their lives. And my mom was like arguing with her. Mm-hmm. And then apparently just at the very end, the lady was like, well, if my daughter was scared, like, she should call. Like, I don't want anyone to get shot in a Starbucks. And my mom the whole time had just been like, you don't know the facts. You don't know the facts of this. Like, you are wrong. And so after the lady said that, she finally was like, the only person being scary in this Starbucks is you. And
ooh, she snapped. Tell her, Margaret. That's her going the fuck off.
Literally, like, as she's stirring sugar into her, like, vanilla latte, and then she just, like, turns and leaves. And when she told me about it, she was like, they're gonna kick me out of Scottsdale.
I loved that story so much.
I'm very proud of her.
I am too. Margaret's really not about that life.
She's not.
At all.
She's like, whatever. I, like, when I was home this last time, I explained what TERFs are to her, and she was like, why would anyone do that?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, different tone of voicemail, but just like, you know.
Oh man,
those are
love our
moms.
moms. Love our moms. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, do you have something for your mom yet? Shit, I gotta write that down. I gotta send something to my mom. So the other two things, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to two of my favorite Instagram accounts. Number one, Hey Gemma Flack. We'll put this in our show notes, but she is a, I think Melbourne, Australia-based, I believe, NARM/Melbourne.
Cool.
I don't know. She does really cool artwork and zines and tattoos, and I have a lot of, like, you can order. I found her a couple years ago through Etsy, actually.
All right.
And she has a lot of, like, cool stickers, just with, like, different kinds of women drawn in them, and, like, I have a couple art prints of her stuff, and I just really like it. I think she's really cool. And then the other one is, like, my now IRL friend through Twitter/Instagram, knowing each other. Gaby Herstik, at Gaby Herstik. Her Instagram bio is the Witch Carrie Bradshaw of LA.
Love it. I love it.
She's Latinx, and she does a lot of really cool, just like witch stuff. She writes for Elu Giggles a lot. She writes for Nylon a lot. She's a book that I have pre-ordered for like months that's coming out. It came out in the UK already, and it's coming out in the US this fall. I just love all her shit. She's like, has half of her head shaved, and she's always like, embracing my inner power. Like,
incredible.
Like, I just love her. She has really good vibes.
Dang, she's good vibes on that.
Yeah, and so I just want to shout her out because I love her, and I want more people to know about her work. Finally, like I said before, I was going to read Summer of Jordi Perez, and now I'm about halfway through it.
Woo!
And I'll update you at the end.
Oh my gosh.
I read it on the plane my entire way to Iowa, which took like 10 hours with my layovers.
So you had time.
I did have time.
Amazing.
I am enjoying it, so we'll see.
And now, for the sponsored portion of I'm Obsessed, let's talk Tomboy X neutrals.
Let's do it.
Are you ready? I think we should tell the people all about our little photo shoot we just did.
Oh my God. Okay, so you people, listen.
Y'all, family.
It just feels fake for me to say y'all, but like, I gotta learn how to say it.
Sometimes it really sounds natural coming from you. I think you just gotta commit.
Y'all.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay, so Tomboy X just came out with this new line. You okay?
Hit the mic, sorry.
Of neutrals. We both got neutrals in our skin tone. Mine is like a little bit off of my skin tone, but only because my skin is so like red all the time, I think.
She's like a blushing Snow White, like at all times.
Just snow blush. The underwear is the color my skin is when I'm not flushed.
Yes.
And your underwear pretty much is the color of your skin.
For the very first time in my life,
It's
I have
cool.
nude undies.
Yeah.
I am so excited. So if y'all are interested in looking at their spectrum, I am color number 2, which is the second from the darkest.
And
that
I am
never happens.
color number 5, and just like
the fairest.
The fairest of them all. I'm so pale. I really like the cut of this bralette. It's like a soft bra.
Yeah, it's a bralette. Mm-hmm.
It's different from the other Essentials one that we have from them. I like this one too. It's got like a cute little cutout, and like
a cutout.
I usually hate a cross back because it feels itchy, but the material that they make their bras and underwear out of really is like very soft.
Which is very true.
Yeah, they call it micromodal fabric. I don't know what that means, but I do know that I have hated every other cross back bra I've ever put on. And this one is very all their stuff is extremely comfy. It's real. Like, we don't say things in our ads that are not true.
We would never.
It's very comfy. And also, like, I do also really like the bands on their stuff.
Totally.
Like, it keeps it up, but it doesn't feel like ouchy at all.
And also, mine have never got loose. Like,
No,
I wear
same.
my white one and my black iconic bra, like, pretty much whenever I'm in the house.
Yeah.
And they have yet to stretch out, which is super dope.
It'll be cool to have something that's, like, cute and comfy.
Yes.
And the color of my skin.
And actually, like, stylish.
Yeah.
It's sleek in a way. Yeah, as someone who has at least one large breast, it is supportive while also not, like, there's no underwire, but I do feel, like, held up where they belong, you know what I mean? So I'm super excited about how inclusive the neutrals line is. Like I said, my shade is not the darkest color, which never happens, not in makeup, not in underwear, not in anything. Yeah. So this is incredible. Check out our Instagram post where we're trying so hard not to be awkward for being so naked.
I do think we look like we were shot by Petra Collins a little bit.
Which is always like the goal.
It's like ideal.
Soft,
so
natural.
Like, yeah, go on over and leave us a nice comment.
We do that. We really do love the line. It's just, wow, shockingly nude. Shockingly nude.
Shockingly nude.
But super excited about the line. And if y'all buy it, please take photos and send them to us and let us know what number you are. I love this game. Okay, yes. Check out our code SAF15NEUTRAL.
Neutral singular.
Neutral. SAF15NEUTRAL for 15% off your very own flesh-toned undies.
Yeah.
Flesh.
Okay, let's move on to some Apple Podcast review shoutouts. Y'all know the drill. One day we will be featured on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. What will that mean? Nothing, but it'll all have been worth it.
We want to be new and noteworthy. There's some people on that list, and I'm not going to name names who clearly don't deserve it, and some people who aren't new. They're not new, and I won't name names, but you know who you are. And quite frankly, we've earned this.
Shut up.
It really pisses me off.
Okay, well, thank you so much to these people who are supporting our, and specifically April's, strong wish to be on New and Noteworthy. JSD 1030, Trish the Dish 33, Holly Joy Joy, Lucy in Bookland, Emily 13, Laura _ Ellen Parcell, that's our friend, and Abby Dorning. Thank you all so much. You're contributing towards April's dream. One day we'll get there together.
And it'll be because of you.
Yeah.
I'm not crying. I said I wouldn't do this. And now we have our Patreon shout-outs. These are the people who are chilling like villains. Remember that from 2005? Chilling like villains with us at patreon.com/she'sallfatpod. We got Ashley Newhouse, Val Montague, Cheris Mitchell, Kaylee Laporta, Rachel Bishop, Laura Gregg, and Jennifer Gabrius.
Some corrections or news. Just as a reminder, we are coming up to our season 2 summer break. We will be back with season 3. Never fear, but we need a summer break so we can like catch up on responding to your emails and like do some. We have some extra cool things planned for our patrons this summer, and we just want to spend some time getting like those interviews together that we've been trying to collect that you all have been suggesting for us. Again, season 3, we want to do some more reported things, some more interviews on identities and topics that we don't have so that we can do some more inclusivity in our body positivity. So keep sending those suggestions over, and also just trying to get everyone prepared. Every time we talk about this, I do get sad Instagram messages about it. I'm very sorry, but we do need a break.
We do need a break, but we would never leave you.
We
would never
back.
abandon you.
I know you've been hurt before.
But
there's
not
plenty
this
of
time.
podcasts that are like, we'll be back at some point, and then they never come back. It's happened to me so many times.
Yes.
We will not do that to you.
We're not going to do that. We love y'all too much. I love getting your dream episode requests in our inbox.
Me
Please
too.
send, what is your dream SAF episode? Is it, I don't know, us watching the Lizzie McGuire movie and like describing it in detail for no particular reason? I don't know. I'm not saying you have to suggest
We're going to do that for the patrons this summer.
You agreed to that? I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Also, we wanted to give a quick shout out to Kat at Palavita and Cake Plus Size Resale. I got to meet Kat this weekend at Flabberfest. She's lovely.
She's awesome. I love Kat. Shouts to Kat.
Shouts to Kat. And Cake Plus Size Resale just won 2018 Best Boutique in the Twin Cities. We're very proud of you, Kat, and Cake Plus Size Resale. Cake is one of our sponsors, and we love Kat, and we're just very happy for you. Go check out their website for shopping online, some cool vintage and like resale stuff, and also if you're in the Twin Cities, go see her.
It's in Tangletown.
Okay. A correction. This is a hashtag sorry, Lindsay.
Lindsay.
I was told by 3 members in the Facebook group, and also Lindsay told me immediately. She like texted me. So like, this is sorry. I confused a bunch of Jane Austen things, and I was trying to say the book that Lindsay likes. Okay, so the book that Lindsay likes that she's lent to me and is always like, oh, you haven't read it yet? And I'm like, no. She's like, you're missing out. It's called Mr. Darcy Takes a Wife. I think it's just like pure Austen erotica, basically. I think it's like just about them having sex after they get married.
Incredible.
Apparently, I also confused it with a mystery novel called Death Comes to Pemberly by P.D. James. And then there's another Austen thing called Lost in Austen.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen, but it's a movie.
And it's not Austen Land.
It's not Austen Land, which I have seen.
I've seen that one.
I liked that one.
Me too.
And I also like the YouTube series.
Yes. What is it called? I can't remember.
It's called the Lizzie Bennet.
Yes.
The Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Hell yeah.
They're
I was
really
subscribed.
Oh my God. They were so good.
It.
And then there's also a movie that they did that's on Netflix that's like her unfinished novella adapted into a movie called Love and Friendship. And I also enjoyed that movie. So hashtag sorry, Lindsay, that I messed up the name of the book. And then finally, just a little newsy piece. If you go to my Instagram bio, you'll be able to click through to the piece I wrote on internet memes for The Verge. I am a freelance writer.
Why'd you say that with a question mark at the end?
Because like, it's hard to be a freelance anything.
Yeah.
Like, at least with the podcast, we have a weekly output. Mm-hmm. All my friends who I know who are freelance writers, it's like you never feel like you're making it until you have like a more full-time job, except for my friends who are like, I'm actually making all my money through writing, but it's like they never sleep because they're just like working all the time. Yeah. So it's hard with freelance writing because like I don't make all my money from it, but like I'm very proud whenever I do publish an article that like I want to share around that's not like content writing or something like that, which is also not bad. It's just like, you know, for like companies or whatever. Yeah, so I wrote a piece for The Verge about internet memes and about the meme called Absolute Unit and just like how we should be researching the origin of memes. And I got rude emails about it from men.
Which is how you know you're doing a great job.
And I got one nice email from one lady who did not expect a response.
Julie
was just like, I liked your artitle, thanks. And I was like,
Julie.
Wow, thanks, Julie.
It will be in the show notes. It's a truly great article taking a closer look at memes. Soph's a great writer. She is a writer. Check it out in the show notes.
Thank you. Okay. So, and as usual, just a shout out to our lovely Facebook group.
People have been giving me amazing tips on how to recharge. Some people just sit in an empty room with no phone, which is great, but I don't know if I can do that.
That's true. I mean, I have found that, like, I feel much more recharged after not looking at my phone.
I mean, the thing is, it's not like I'm always on Twitter or something, but I even need, like, background music. Like, I just need something. Yeah. And I like to just sit with myself. It scares me, but I think I would feel recharged if I tried it.
People are also talking about crafting their new body posi tattoos. After our last real episode, a lot of people were talking more about It's Okay You Can Ask about having conservative or Trump-supporting family members and how they deal with that. People are very proactive and caring in the Facebook group, which I really like. Like, I usually do a Friday self-promo post, and I was traveling and forgot about it, and then I went on the group Sunday after getting 3 hours of sleep the last 2 nights, and I saw somebody already did the post for me, and I was like, honestly choked up. I was like, thank you. You did it.
Y'all are so sweet.
Yeah, so join the Facebook group by becoming a member of our Patreon at level Team Paisley Moo. Okay.
Which is what I wore all weekend when I had a fever.
April.
A Paisley Moo.
Please take care of your body.
I'm trying so hard. Okay, we should really get to the meat of it, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
The meat of it. This week on The Meat of It, because y'all asked repeatedly, and because we did fuck up last week
on every platform,
and because we love you. We're talking about the movie I Feel Pretty.
And a couple other things, so don't click off if you don't want to hear about it.
Because we would understand if you didn't want it. We drove our fat asses to the movie theater and dead ass paid money to see I Feel Pretty.
Literally, can't believe it.
Also, so first, during the movie, let me just note, I thought Sophie was just like, whatever, I hate this, I'm writing an email. We were taking notes, and then I started taking notes, too.
Oh my God.
Where do we begin, Soph?
Okay, so I just want to say I feel full shade at the people who I know who have posted about how it's an important lesson.
Oh, yikes. Or feminist triumph I've seen.
It's just like,
yikes.
what?
Yikes. Reevaluate your politics.
Like,
please.
Jeez. Okay,
Bad.
So we're going to spoil the movie for y'all just so you don't have to go see it.
By the way, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Do you
you're
not spend $13 on this? No.
Yeah, we spent 10 at a matinee, and that was too much. Okay, first of all, I would like to say I love A.D. Bryant. She's like literally my role model. She's who I want to be.
She's already who you are. Like, you're the same person.
She is from Phoenix. Mm-hmm. I have mutuals with her. She's so funny. She's so cute.
Yes.
I will still love her. No shade to A.D. for being in this. No.
But it's not great.
It's not great. And I do kind of resent her for being like, no, you don't judge it till you see it. Here's the thing is that maybe this is really the only script she's ever been offered where it's like she doesn't have an insulting role.
Yeah.
You know? So I will say that, like, A.D. Bryant's role as one of Amy Schumer's friends is, like, to me, the best part of the movie. Mm-hmm. She's got a cute little character. She is never told she's too fat or she's, like, not attractive because she's fat or anything. She's just kind of like herself, and she's just like, you're being weird. And then she's just like, fine. But, like, it's not a huge role, and it does not redeem the movie for me. But I just do want to say that, like, her role as, like, a chubby friend is fine.
Okay, we did cover this episode or this movie a little bit in our episode State of the Fat Union when the trailer came out and everybody was freaking the fuck out, and we watched it and we were like, it's not gonna be good. So we have thought about this, but I wanted to just touch base on, like, being a person who's consuming media at all times. Before you walked into the Baldwin Hills movie theater, like, what was buzzing in your head about this movie? What did you expect?
I expected it to be a movie that tried to give the message that all you need to do is be confident and be yourself, and you'll be fine, and to ignore the realities of structural privilege. And I was right.
I would say that because of the trailer and also the backlash after the trailer came out, I was expecting the movie to be more explicitly, quote unquote, body positivity, like the way that body positivity can be marketed in a way that is, like, watered down, that we've discussed earlier in the podcast, to be more, like, consumable or whatever. But it really is not even about that. Like, it like touches on it, but it's more just about a woman who, like, has really low self-esteem, is also, like, kind of a piece of shit in general, like, kind of a selfish monster, and then just thinks she's hot, like, and the body is part of it, but also kind of not.
Yeah.
So it just made it slappy, honestly.
Yeah.
I weirdly thought I would be offended by it, and I wasn't offended. It was too sloppy.
I thought I would be offended because their trailer really, really made it seem like most of the jokes would be like, look how ugly she is. Yeah. Isn't it funny that she thinks she's hot? And that's not exactly the joke.
There is one scene where I think that's a joke for a couple minutes, but it's more just, oh, this lady's acting weird.
Yeah.
That's kind of the movie.
Yeah.
We'll give a little synopsis for people who have not been, like, forced to watch this trailer several times. So Amy Schumer is a blonde white woman who's about a size 8, and she lives in New York City. She bumps her head at SoulCycle and wakes up and thinks that she is, quote unquote, beautiful. Please note, the movie never shows us how she sees herself.
Which I think actually is a good thing.
I think so too. I don't want a Shallow Hal situation.
No,
Please don't. Reverse Shallow Hal. And then she moves through the world as if she's a supermodel, and, you know, people think she's acting a little loopy.
She gains the confidence because of that to, like, apply for her dream job, a secretary
at a fashion line, a makeup line.
But it's not. It's like makeup / skincare / what is it?
Just like a
beauty line. Yeah. She gets a job because the head of it is, like, inspired by her talking about confidence, basically, and then she rises up the ranks because she, like, knows how average girls like to do their makeup, and the luxury brand is launching a lower end line, and she is the only one who works there who is, like, not super rich, and so she gets to, like, advise on it. And then she's continuing to do well. She, like, goes out with this guy, starts to date this guy, embarrasses herself a bunch of times, but she doesn't know it. And then on a trip to make the big presentation for the business, she hits her head again, and then is, oh no, I'm not beautiful anymore. In the meantime, she's, like, been super rude to all of her friends, and then she hides from everyone, and then finally while she's making a presentation for the company, she realizes that she just looked the same the whole time, and she gets her friends back and her job back and her boyfriend back. And that's the end, because she finally realizes...
And she gets a promotion.
Because she finally realizes that the only thing that changed was that she saw herself as beautiful.
Yes. And she gives a whole very convoluted speech about how, like, if you see yourself as beautiful and if you, quote, want it hard enough, you can accomplish your dreams. Which, all right.
Okay.
So that's a synopsis. So let's get into it.
Okay. So...
Ridiculous movie.
Can I just make a couple other complaints besides the political part of it?
Please do.
Okay, number one, her job makes no sense. She has to send the traffic reports to corporate.
Wait, so does that mean, like, okay, how many people clicked on their Instagram? She just looks at the traffic tab.
And then she has to take over a printed out file of it to the main office. Like, this makes no sense. Her job makes no sense.
Wouldn't the social media manager also track traffic?
Yeah. She has to send the traffic report. I'm just like, this is lazy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, that makes no sense. Number two, she applies for a job, and then the CFO calls to bring her in for the interview. Again, did anyone who write this movie ever have a job?
Ever speak to a woman?
This is not how it works.
Anything.
Okay, number three, they call her as the one from the online division.
Like, it's so out of touch. It's hilarious.
Did they eat?
You could at least Google. You can watch a YouTube video.
Okay, and then also just, like, the whole idea of having, like, a high-end makeup company make a line for Target is basically the point of the movie. That's not what happens with luxury makeup brands. The point is that they're inaccessible. That's what makes them luxury.
This really triggered you during the movie.
It made me so mad because I was like, you can't make a movie where, like, part of the point is that it's like supposed to be a metaphor that she works for a beauty brand that's learning how to market itself to the average woman and not know how beauty brands work.
But a man wrote this, Soph.
There's no reason for a blush to cost $150.
There's no real reason.
And yet, sometimes they do. You know why they cost that much? Because of the cachet put around the name of the brand. Because they have a fancy package, and they have a fancy model, and they've marketed themselves as an affluent-only brand. A luxury makeup brand does not create a drugstore line. That's the whole fucking reason they can charge that much money.
This took Soph straight out of the movie.
So
and please note, we pull up a smooth 20 minutes late ready for the bullshit.
It makes no sense.
She sits down, this storyline's introduced, she's out of it. She checks out.
Shows such a lack of understanding of anything about the business that they're trying to write in.
Anyway, other gripes about this movie. Okay. Soph had turned around at this point to angrily write her notes, but there's a scene that starts with her just taking a big bite of lasagna.
Yeah. That is, I will say, like, Amy Schumer in her show and in the movie, she's always like, I'm kind of fat. And I'm like, you're not, girl. You're not fat. You're not even an in-betweenie. You're solidly straight size. So, like, please stop pretending that you having one role, it's, like, just literally the same to me as, like, the way body positivity is complained about now because it's on Instagram. People being like, I'm so brave. I'm sitting in this photo.
Instagram, like, real life.
Yeah. Like,
you're, like, hunched over.
Nice. You have, like, one little pooch. So brave.
But I do think it's interesting to explore. A lot of people online were saying, like, this movie would have been a lot more meaningful if the character were actually fat. And, like, while it did annoy me that Amy Schumer is not
I'm glad she's not fat, though, for the jokes.
Jokes.
Because the jokes really would have been, isn't it funny that this fat girl thinks she's hot?
Totally. I think it would have, for a movie that's very muddy, would have further muddied it.
Yeah,
whatever they were trying to accomplish.
I don't think it would have been helpful. I don't see how it would have been helpful.
I think the people think that because they really think body positivity is, I'm fat, but who cares? I feel good. Yeah. And so they're like, well, the point is that she's fat, but she's not fat, so it's confusing. I'm like, no, that's not the point. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's because people think body positivity is just self-love. And as we have said many times, body positivity is about making the world more equal for all kinds of bodies. It's about erasing the ways that people treat marginalized bodies to make things more equal for everyone. Self-love is about self-love.
Absolutely.
If you get into body positivity, usually you get more into self-love because you start like finding that the things you believe politically help you be kinder to yourself. That's not always true. And also, like, sometimes you can believe really strongly in body positivity and you're still like, I look bad today.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
I did that an hour ago.
And it's also not the same. It's just, like, not the same thing. Being, like, a little bit insecure about something or even like, struggling with things like body dysmorphia or whatever, that does not, like, as long as you're not, like, and so therefore I should be treated differently.
Yes.
Then you're fine.
But think about how dismissive. So, okay, we'll jump ahead. We're going to jump all around. Y'all are not going to see this movie.
Okay.
The climactic part in the movie is she's on stage, like Soph said. She's realizing that she's looked the same the whole time. And she has this triumphant moment where she realizes, like, hey, it doesn't matter what I look like. And I feel like that is the takeaway from this movie. And that is so dismissive.
I agree.
Of especially super fat people and also just, like, anybody who lives in a body that would be considered marginalized in any way.
Because what it's saying is, like, all the reasons that it could be harder or you could feel bad about yourself, you created for yourself.
And if you believe in yourself hard enough,
then it'll go away.
Which doesn't make sense.
I wrote down, she says, these things happen that make us question ourselves. No specific, except for someone being mean to her on a playground.
Yeah, she did say that.
These things happen. What if we didn't let those moments get to us? Again, saying it's your fault for feeling bad about yourself.
No.
What if we didn't care about how we looked or sounded? So again, it's just like, it's this whole like self-empowerment kind of like bullshit take where it's just like, if only you smiled, you wouldn't be depressed anymore. It's like that kind of thing. So another thing that she said when someone was like, how do you do all this? She says, I started to believe that if I wanted it, all my dreams would come true.
She just manifests destiny to her own life.
It's just the secret.
I don't need that, honey.
It's just like, again, total ignorance about the larger systems at place. Okay, let's go back to the boyfriend.
Let's go back to the boyfriend. Okay, so after she realizes she's hot, she's in line at the dry cleaners, and she meets the world's most average white man, and I stand by that statement.
Yeah.
The world's most average white man, and she thinks that he's trying to get her phone number when he's really just asking, like, what number in line she has, basically. And then basically they engage in this relationship where he, like, she gives him the number thinking he wanted it. He asks her out, but also is still, like, sort of taken aback by her confidence that he clearly thinks is inappropriate for her looks, which, again, Amy Schumer's a blonde white woman who is not fat.
Yeah.
But anyway, so throughout their whole relationship, he's basically like, oh man, hope she doesn't embarrass herself. She doesn't look like what she thinks she looks like, but she's so confident.
You know,
it is hot.
His movie outfit is the rainbow plaid shorts that the guy in my class I didn't like wore junior year of high school, and a graphic tee, which you described in the movie as disgusting but realistic.
Just this garbage person is like, why is she so confident? It's like, are you kidding me?
He's not bad. He literally describes himself as a nice guy and says he, like, you know, was obsessed with this girl from high school. He just seems like extremely average. He is nice. It's like, whatever.
I mean, he was describing being friend zoned without saying the word friend zone, so I don't trust him.
So, but you know, he's kind to her. He doesn't do anything wrong except for he's just like scared. He literally says he's scared of her.
Yeah. And it's weird because I'm like, are you attracted to her? When they first went on the date, he was like, well, I'm too scared to not ask you out. Like, are you into her or are you, like, being bullied?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Here's one moment I did like in the movie.
Okay.
After their second date, they go back to, like, sleep together, basically. And then she just comes out, like, naked. And he's like, whoa. And then she's like, I know. And I liked that, like, that would have made me feel really bad if they'd leaned on it, but they didn't. And then they go in and he keeps turning off the light and then she keeps turning it on. And, like, they show him being like, well, I didn't know if you'd want to see me.
Yeah.
And I liked that scene. Like, a lot of my objections with the movie as a whole is that it shows her thinking people are hitting on her when they're not. But, like, I'm not even thin, and people hit on me all the time.
Absolutely.
Like, people hit on people all the time, like, not just on very beautiful people, quote-unquote, very beautiful people. You know what I mean? Like, I just present the fact that, like, the movie was trying to be like, if you're not Emily Ratajkowski, no one will ever hit on you.
I couldn't believe she was in
what?
this. Like, why?
Like, sorry, like, people are attracted to other people and, like, not just only hot, like, super hot people, again, quote unquote. Anyways, I liked this scene because he's genuinely like, wow, she's beautiful.
I think what happened in their relationship is that basically she wore him down. Because first he was like taken aback by the confidence, and then another scene we'll discuss later, he was like worried about her, that people would think that she was like nuts or that she would be interpreted as ugly or whatever. And then after her confidence was able to like sway the room, he was like, now I'm into you. They're also okay. I did note one scene that not so much that I liked, but that I appreciated the art, like the effort, because here's what I'll say. The movie is like noticeably under-directed.
There's just like weird, they set up the camera and let it roll.
And like walk away. Like it's very odd the way they're framing everyone, just like there's no thought put into it. And it also seems like a lot of the actors are just like fully phoning it in, like it just wasn't.
100%.
But there was one scene that I was like, okay, this is a movie, which was, so towards the end of the movie, Amy Schumer hits her head again, and then now she's like, oh no, I'm ugly again. And then she's like, well, how do I get back to that like psychosis where I felt like I was beautiful? Let me try to hit my head again. So she goes back to Soul Cycle and is like in the same bike where she hit herself, where she hurt herself, and she's like desperately biking, and she's like, maybe I'll fall, maybe I'll fall, maybe I'll fall. And like that moment I was like, okay, Amy, I see you. Like she was acting in that moment.
Yeah.
And it also was like, okay, at the end of the day, I do understand that feeling, that like desperation of just like, can I please see myself as beautiful? I feel so bad about myself. Can I just have like one moment where I'm not like haunted by the body that I live in? Like I'm not there now, but like I definitely was there as a teenager. And so they totally depicted that moment of she's like, I'll do anything. I'll literally throw myself off this chair at Soul Cycle. Like, can I please be beautiful? And of course it does not work out for her. And like, unfortunately you'll have to live in your size 8 body. I'm so sorry. But I did relate to that moment. And I think it's an interesting depiction of a woman who's like 5 years before truly discovering body positivity and just being in a horrible cycle.
It just really felt, I don't know, it felt like pretty half-baked to me as a whole.
I mean,
like,
nothing about this movie feels intentional. Anything that's cool or like interesting is like an
It's
accident.
not cohesive at all. No. I mean, there's also like the other things I liked. I really did like her costuming. She wore a lot of like complementary pinks.
Oh, absolutely. She was in color blocking, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Off the shoulder.
Cute yellow pumps all the time.
Love it.
I did, like, there's like one joke where she goes in for her big interview, and like the bench to sit on in the waiting room is just a big log, like a tree trunk with branches sticking out. That is commensurate with my experience in like fancy businesses.
Didn't appreciate that.
Weird ass seating. But just there's a scene where like Emily Ratajkowski is like being broken up with, and she's really sad about it, and her character is like, you look like you and you got broken up with, I hate you, blah blah. And it's like, you're being weird.
And, like, rude to this really nice model.
Like, she's just, it's just, like, it overall feels like the message of the movie is, like, pretty people are better and pretty people are treated better because they're pretty. And it's really unfortunate that not all of us can be pretty, but we can just, like, accept the best that we got.
And, like, maybe if you were confident, people would treat you like you were pretty.
Exactly.
Because think about it. Even if I'm, like, the most confident I might ever have and, like, I'm feeling great and I'm in my jeggings or whatever, people are like, who's this black bitch?
Right.
like I'm still
not
interpreted in the world.
It's just not, it doesn't at all kind of address the, like, structural things of that. Like, it doesn't ask the question, like, why do we consider this pretty?
Yes.
Like, why do we care about who is pretty? What does being pretty mean? Who decides what pretty is? Mm-hmm. Like, why are we building this up?
No,
you know what I mean?
The movie's not at all concerned with anyone else's experience other than hers. Even to the point where her friends are like, we're not subscribing to this, like,
they're like,
thing you're trying
being rude.
They're like, why are you being shitty to us?
Yeah.
And then, at a certain point when she's in her, like, hot mode or whatever, she basically calls her friends, like, ugly and, like, dumpy. She's like, y'all should try to be hot girls like me. And they're
basically
like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's disrespectful.
And that's, like, the message at the end is not, and she's beautiful, too. Mm-hmm. The message in the end is, like, if you were only confident enough, you could overcome everything. When, like, the way that she got stuff through being confident is that people were kind of weirded out, but also charmed because they saw a discrepancy between her appearance and her confidence.
Yeah, and it was, like, not interesting to them.
Yeah, it's not like she was confident and so she appeared beautiful. It's like she was confident and people were like, you're ugly, you shouldn't be confident. So I'll be interested in that.
Totally. They're like, what's your deal?
Yeah.
Like, let me hear more as sort of a gag. Yeah, can I confidence my way into a small business loan?
Yeah.
Can I confidence my way into a better title at work? I don't think so.
It's very telling to me that it's bookended by Soul Cycle, which I feel like is exactly fake empowerment. You're just like, pump your way to whatever, and you're not actually moving anywhere.
Vaguely religious in that they were like set an intention or whatever.
Yeah, it's really, the movie really seemed like a bad AU mashup of Freaky Friday and Devil Wears Prada, but like without the charm of either movie.
It really was excruciatingly not charming, to the point where Sophie, not even wearing a watch, is like looking at her wrist like, how much longer?
Just so long.
It was trying.
It also just made me sad that it's like, wow, again, isn't it wild that all these women like are trying to do things and they hate themselves or they love themselves? Either way is laughable.
Yep. Like, I truly think that this movie is a great example of, like, the fundamental misunderstanding about what body positivity is. It's like, isn't it just, like, you don't care anymore and you're like, fuck it? It's like, no. It's not you're like, fuck it. I don't know how we got to this place, but that's not what it is. But I think the interesting thing to me about this movie is that it really was marketed as, like, this is a movie on modern-day body positivity, and it's, like, the clean opposite.
Yeah.
In every single way. Will people catch on? I'm not sure. I mean, there was a cool New York Times piece about how the movie is not interrogating the same systems that we're talking about, which I think is thoughtful. But I also think a lot of people will see this and, like, miss the point and be like, yeah, I shouldn't give a fuck. And I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah.
You can give a fuck.
I don't ultimately agree with everything in the article, but I found a couple quotes that I think sum up what we're saying. Here is one. The movie suggests that the only thing holding back regular-looking women, which I have qualms with the word regular looking, is their belief that looking regular holds them back at all. That attitude puts the onus on individual women to improve their self-esteem instead of criticizing societal beauty standards writ large. The reality is that expectations for female appearances have never been higher. It's just become taboo to admit that. The new beauty mantra mirrors corporate messaging around imposter syndrome and leaning in, the idea that women's lack of confidence is holding them back from professional success, not discrimination. In fact, our culture's ideal woman is beautiful and modest. So then here's like the main thing that I think is missing from this is that this author still is just like, so there's nothing to do about it. And like the way that they end is, the only way I found to banish momentarily the shadow of the idealized self is to pay for it to go away with a Sephora shopping spree or a spin class. Where I'm like, how about just like do feminism?
How about interrogate the system?
How about like work to tear it down? I don't know. How about whatever? But like, I do think that a lot of what they say is good. They have a reference in there to our fave Shallow Hal.
I'm glad that a mainstream outlet is not taking it at face value.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be easy to see the movie and just be like, that sounds good. Women should just have some more confidence.
Yeah, and I also do think the movie doesn't even do a good job of what it's trying to do, which is not body positivity.
What is it trying to do? That's my question for you. What is it attempting?
I think it's trying to say, like, it doesn't matter what you look like as long as you're confident.
But it matters what you look like, and that's the whole fucking point.
Yeah, but I don't even think they're trying to say that. I think they're just trying to say, be confident. And I don't even think they successfully say, be confident. And, like, also part of what this New York Times article says is, like, you know, despite the privileges that she is not the mainstream look for Hollywood. That's true.
That's
Emily
fair.
Ratajkowski is.
Yeah.
That again is the problem. Like, it's not super inspiring to parse the differences between two rich, famous white women, you know?
Not at all.
Like, I'm not super interested in that. As a documentary of how feminism is being co-opted to just sell products, I found it very compelling.
What a fresh hell this is. It is realistic about capitalism's interest in women's self-image for monetary gain.
Yeah.
I understand that. But no. Honey, no.
Yeah. Anyways, we wanted to talk about this movie in context of Roxane Gay's piece that came out last week at the end of her series for Medium about different kinds of bodies. What's this?
It's called Unruly Bodies. Yeah.
She describes her body as unruly, a lot in hunger, and I do think it's like a nice descriptor. I think it is a really good way to describe the way that her body and other marginalized bodies don't stay within the confines of what society wants them to. So she wrote this piece where she basically talks about her decision to get weight loss surgery. So trigger warning if you don't want to hear a discussion of that, that's about to happen now. We are not going to get super into it because we are going to do an episode next season about weight loss and weight loss surgery and kind of talking about how those topics function within the body positive and fat positive communities. And so basically in the piece, she says, like, it's really, really, really hard to live in like a Black female super fat body, and I got tired of it and I couldn't handle it anymore, and I got surgery, and I'm really afraid of all things that might happen. I'm afraid of staying the same weight. I'm afraid of losing weight.
Yep.
I'm afraid of hurting like the fat positive movement. I'm afraid of never changing. I'm afraid, basically just like the same really fraught emotions that made it hard to finish Hunger
Absolutely.
are here. There's a lot of talk in the body positive community about like, you know, you can never lose weight, like you're blah, blah, blah. But like, I really think this is like the bleakest and realist discussion of how like, no, being confident like wouldn't have helped Roxane.
Not get shouted at on the street.
Like not face the struggles of like literally not having anything in the world fit her.
Yes.
Like the way that people talk to her insultingly, the way that chairs and like accommodations don't work for her, the way that she deals with racism and misogyny, misogynoir, and fat phobia. Just like,
she's also living in a queer body.
Yeah.
Like, it's just disrespect on every level.
And the fact that there's just nothing about this movie's response to like pretty privilege that could have helped her. There's just no world where like I could look at what Roxane Gay wrote and be like, well, if only you loved yourself more.
No. Because
Like,
loving yourself more is not going to make you, like, be comfortable on an airplane.
It's not going to make the world stop treating you shittily.
No.
It just doesn't. And, like, fighting, body positivity is about, like, fighting the good fight. It's about being like, hey, friends and family, could you stop saying these things that are shitty and make my life harder? Like, hey, let's tweet at companies. Like, hey, let's work for legislation to make sure that, like, fatness is included on, like, in laws about how you can't discriminate. It's hard and it's structural, and it's, like, a series of painful conversations asking people not to disrespect you.
Absolutely.
And none of that has to do with self-love or confidence.
At all. Okay, so from this Roxane piece, so earlier in the piece, she describes the breaking point when she decided to have the surgery was she was at a grocery store in her hometown, and some teen boys were just, like, treating her like shit. So here's a little excerpt from that piece. And again, it will be linked in the show notes. That incident in the parking lot was also an accumulation of frustrations and heartache I no longer wanted to carry. Doctors not taking me seriously and always trying to treat my weight before anything else, never fitting in spaces I wanted to be in, the obsessive rituals I developed around deciding if and how I could go out in public, feeling unfit and hating exercise because everything was so arduous, having such limited fashion options, the familial concern that was a yoke I couldn't ever get out from under, the societal concern that was a yoke I couldn't ever get out from under, the nagging worry that my weight would eventually come between me and the one person in my life who has never made me feel anything but good in my body, the nagging worry that eventually my luck would run out and all the terrible things that doctors had long been warning me about would come to pass.
By the way, none of those things even have to do with the quote-unquote health reality of living in her body.
No.
Except for that very last thing. But even that is, like, about the way that doctors treat her, not about any actual health response. Like, I think a lot of people read her piece and they were like, yeah, see, she, like, finally, it's like she's going to feel so much better. Or, like, she's going to, I just hope enough people read it and see, like, her decision had nothing to do with health. It had to do with being tired and being broken down by the way the world treated her.
Like, that last sentence is the feeling of, regardless of if you read all the studies and that, like, very, complicated links between weight and all these other health concerns, the feeling of walking into the doctor and having the doctor say over and over again, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, will take a toll. Yeah. Regardless of if it's true or not.
Especially when, like, and she also says this in the piece, the doctor told me I wouldn't make it to this year, the doctor told me I wouldn't make it to this year.
Absolutely.
And the fact that doctors, like, look at weight before everything and don't examine any other issues you might actually be having. Yeah. Imagine Roxane Gay watching that movie. Like, what is she supposed to get from it? I don't know. I really didn't like the way that, like, it's just not, like, questioned at all why Amy Schumer's character has such low self-esteem. Like, there's no reason given for it, because if they had to look into it, it would be like, the reason is this oppressive culture, and actually, like, you're positioned pretty well in it.
Yeah.
This piece, to me, the Roxane Gay piece, really, like, it's hard to read. And it might be hard to read, especially if you know, are one of our listeners who's had like any kind of disordered eating or like feelings about that or that kind of trauma in the past. But like, I just think in juxtaposition with this movie, it does the work for us of really bringing home how much the movie ignores structural problems that are actually causing people to be insecure, and how being insecure is like a byproduct of a lack of justice for differently sized bodies and racism, et cetera, and how like just a shining example of how white thin privilege is bad even for white thin women, because it tells even them that they're not good enough. You know what I mean?
And imagine a world where if Amy Schumer feels this bad about herself, if the movie could just take a moment to just pivot to literally anyone else's experience.
Yeah.
It might have been just a tablespoon more nuance in a way that would have been interesting.
Yeah. I'm way more interested in Nadie Bryant's character.
Yeah. She's cute.
She's cute, and she's going on a date.
Also, she's confident. Like, the way that the movie defines confidence is such a narrow interpretation.
Yeah.
Like, 80s actually, like, no, I'm cute. This is fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really irritating. Okay, my final question for you, though, Soph.
Yeah.
Fix it. Like, what's your romantic comedy about body positivity?
Maybe, like, what Nicole Byer is doing, but, like, as a rom-com, because she's not really doing a rom-com, she's doing, like, a comedy. Just, like, someone fat or plus size who, like, acknowledges the struggles that brings, but feels confident and loves herself because she acknowledges the bullshit of the, like, system as the outside of her, instead of feeling confident because of the times she can approximate those systems.
Or feeling confident by deluding herself into thinking that systems don't exist.
Yeah. The fat girl who works in the lunchroom at this made-up beauty company.
Okay.
But she has, like, a nice boyfriend, and she goes home and, like, makes fun of how everyone acts, and then she, like, starts an Etsy store with, like, locally sourced oils or something.
I love this. Like, hand-stitching, body-positive sayings.
And then, like, the CEO of the company is like, I found this very exclusive something, and it's her thing. And then she's like, it's me.
I love that. A fat entrepreneur making her own art and coming up against those systems that oppress us.
And then they're like, can we make you part of our company? And she's like, no.
It's like, I work for the man.
Yeah. Mine's called, like, So Good, and it's SEW.
Nice. Freaking nerd.
What's yours?
Okay, my body positive romantic comedy, let's see. So I would love to see a movie where it's like a black fat woman starts like a dance studio for only fat black women, and she helps them on their journey. Because I think it's like unreasonable to be like, I don't want to see anybody who's not fully baked body positive on screen.
Right.
But I just want to see a depiction of it that's like realistic and that, again, acknowledges like the reality of the situation. So I'd love if they're like, if the movie would be like, hey, you can, you know, you live in these systems that are chains. Hello, we're living in chains. You can have agency and like enjoy your body in this space that I've created for you, my haven.
That's awesome.
I would love
really,
that.
what would it be called?
Oh God, it would be called Courtney's Curves. Oof.
April. That's the TLC reality show version of it. I'm sorry, that's not a movie title.
I'm so sorry. I'm not good at titles. I did not name this very podcast.
Wow.
I cannot.
Yeah, I mean, I just would love to see any kind of scene where someone feels bad about themselves but still sticks to their values.
Yes.
Like, I just want to see the separation between body positivity and self-love, because it's conflated in every single narrative I've ever seen.
Seriously.
Okay, I think that's the meat of it for this week, and we've solved what we think of I Feel Pretty, so please never ask me again.
We did this for you.
You're welcome. Today's episode is sponsored by Home Chef, a meal kit delivery service. Do you love eating but struggle with all the steps leading up to it? Namely, finding a recipe, doing the grocery shopping, and then the actual preparation of the food? If that sounds like you and me, then Home Chef has got you covered.
Each week, you get to choose from 11 fresh recipes featuring steak, chicken, pork, fish, vegetarian, and beyond. The best part is you set your preferences to include only the things you want to eat, ensuring that you'll love everything in your box.
I love how easy to follow their recipe cards are. They ship you everything you need to make a super yummy meal in no time. Don't forget to make them look pretty for Instagram.
My favorite Home Chef meal so far has been the pot sticker burgers with spicy Asian slaw and a side of sesame ginger salad. Just thinking about it, it's delicious. It was delicious, and I was able to make it in 30 minutes, less time than an episode of Real Housewives of New York.
Home Chef makes a home-cooked meal the highlight of our day, which is really saying something for me, a terrible cook. Visit homechef.com/SAF and enter SAF at checkout for $30 off your first order. Again, save $30 on your first order with promo code SAF at homechef.com/SAF.
All right, and now it's time to Ask a Fatty. If you want advice, you can send a voice memo of yourself asking a question to FYI@she'sallfatpod.com. You can record it on your computer or the voice memo app on your iPhone. Just keep it short, about 1 minute max, or if you're shy, you can send us a plain old email at FYI@she'sallfatpod.com, and we might answer your question right here on the show. This week on Ask a Fatty, we have a very special letter from Hannah.
I'm calling for some stories, advice, thoughts from your life and your knowledge about dropping non-woke friends. Usually I'm all on that train of educating and calling people out. But this is a really old friend. She dropped some major truth bombs about really not being on the body positivity train, and also having some very challenging thoughts on LGBTQ community and Black Lives Matter. And she's also very stubborn. I don't think I can change or educate her. So please let me know how to do this gently. I love your opinions or stories and how you've done this in your lives to protect yourself and surround yourself with good stuff. Anyways, thanks so much. Bye.
I forgot about that.
A Hannah on the go. Gotta answer the door right this moment.
Iconic.
I love it.
I love a Hannah on the go to the doorbell.
Absolutely.
I love a Hannah with people coming over.
A sought after Hannah. We appreciate. Oh my goodness. I totally relate to this, Hannah. Keeping it 100% funky, I have had a bad habit in the past of, like, when friendships get tricky, just, like, fully piecing out.
I can't believe you. It's so rude. Ghosting is not acceptable and very not chill vibes.
I know it's not chill vibes, but I'm being fully honest about who I have been in the past. Because the reality is, having a hard conversation with a friend about, like, okay, listen, this is what I need from you. You're not giving me that. And so either you are open to change or I'm dipping is really hard. And so, like, I totally acknowledge. I'm happy that this Hannah is, like, seeking advice instead of just, like, exiting stage left, which is what teen April perhaps would have done. So here we are. I would say you've already acknowledged that this friend of yours is super stubborn. So I would say basically you have to decide where your line is. Are you comfortable being friends with someone who is not even open to hearing you out, clearly not open to change, and that would require, like, years of emotional labor to, like, maybe make into a more like reasonable person?
Yeah.
Are you willing to do that? You definitely don't have to. You definitely don't owe anyone, like, shaping into being a better human being, especially if you feel like the friendship is not, like, reciprocal or it's, like, draining onto you. So I would say it's more about you. You decide where your line is and then have a conversation with this friend about how they can't be in your life right now because they're causing you too much pain, basically.
Yeah. I'm not someone who's like, blood's thicker than water. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, like, my chosen family is my friends a lot of the time. I don't know. I mean, the further this Hannah went into the things that she was uncomfortable, she was like, well, I'm kind of bad about this, and also Black Lives Matter. And also, I was just like,
your friend's racist.
Yeah. Yikes.
Jeez.
I find it, and I don't know exactly what this says, but I find it easier to forgive when people are not super body positive than when they're racist.
Yeah, me too. Because honestly, like, again, being early in your body positive journey, it sounds like self-hating and, like, a little fat-phobic.
Yeah.
Not that it's excusable, but that I understand it.
And I know myself and other people who have gone on that journey.
And been able to change.
And,
but
I don't know that many people. I know a couple people who were questioning of Black Lives Matter and then have moved forward.
But also, I mean, this Hannah mentioned in their letter, they're a person of color. If you're a person of color, like, not your responsibility.
That's what
you
I'm
don't have
saying.
to do this.
Well, that's why I personally feel like I'm like, I got to talk about this. It's my responsibility to talk about this with a friend. Do you know what I mean? We are all going to be making stumbles and mistakes that do hurt other people. And the best thing we can do is just try to listen and be corrected on them and agree and then move forward, you know? And like, also, if your friends or if people are hurtful to you because of things that they say or do, and you decide that that's enough to cut them out, that's also fine. But like, the point is not to have like, you know, the friend squad with the highest level of woke approved. You know what I mean?
Because once again, it's just not realistic.
Well, it's just not like being a feminist and being, you know, justice oriented is not performative.
No.
And so somebody can be slightly problematic in some ways and you still are like, I think they're a good person and they're working on this or they're working on that or like whatever. You also can like choose to place friends back into the acquaintance corner. Like, it's totally acceptable to have a questioning conversation with someone, for example, and it feels a little uncomfortable, and then you're like, great, we're just not going to talk about things anymore. You don't have to say that.
That's a less dramatic, because the alternate is, if you want to fully cut them out, you have to like sit down with them
and do a whole thing, mess with your friend group.
Say like, exactly, it's gonna be awkward. I mean, I'm sure you've already considered this. You have to say, this is where I am in my life, and this is why I'm looking for a friend, and this is why you don't measure up, and this is why I don't want you in my life.
I think it's also like an acceptable response, depending on situations, to hang out less with this person.
Yeah.
Make choices not to be around them if they're hurting you and others. And if they sense a disturbance in the force and they like want to talk to you about it, then just be honest if you can. You know, maybe they're just like an old friend and they've just been around forever. And I also understand that. Like, I understand the value of those people in your lives. It's just like, is it worth it? And is it worth how much it hurts you? So if she becomes a going out friend, that's fine.
That's cool. I mean, don't be alone with them at a bar and get drunk.
Yeah.
You don't trust her. But yeah. And keep us posted, Hannah. I mean, friendship, honestly, we've talked about this before. Like, a friendship breakup or like friendship, like, any awkwardness or tension or whatever can be just as painful as any other relationship. So like, I so get the distress of being like, oh my God, I'm putting off having to break up with this friend. I've been there before. Please keep us posted on how this ends up going, Hannah, and we're with you.
Good luck.
We see you. Good luck. Friendship drama sucks. We see you.
Okay.
That's it. Now let's move on to It's Okay You Can Ask, a segment that varies from intense discussions about racial politics in the United States to a detailed explanation of what exactly dry shampoo is.
We'll find the answers to our burning questions like, what is the Black national anthem and how do so many Black people know the words?
Or please explain Space Cowboy?
Which one?
Casey Musgraves.
April.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so before the recording tonight, we had like an interesting discussion about why did it start? Why did this discussion start?
Oh, because someone in the Facebook group, two what I assume are white women, were calling each other articulate in the comments. And I was like, oh, how refreshing to see white people call each other articulate, whereas usually it's being used towards me to mean, oh, so notable how she's not making monkey noises. How articulate. Which offends me to my core.
Well, of course. But I also like just noted that I have seen in many of the like writing Facebook groups I'm in, white women, older white women especially, get in trouble for saying articulate to Black women. And just like you and I were kind of talking about how like, even though I'm obviously not trying to say it's never used as a microaggression or that it never comes from like a racist place, but it just is funny to me that you noted them saying it to each other as if that's out of the norm. Mm-hmm. Whereas in my experience, white women call each other articulate all the time. And a lot of times I think when white women say it to Black women in the context that I have seen, again, this is like in context of people like white women who are writers who care about words. Mm-hmm. They're just like being complimentary genuinely about the way someone phrases something.
Yes. Because I was describing, like, I remember first noticing this in college. In, like, a discussion section, a white girl would say some like, cohesive sentence. And then another white girl would be like, well said. Wow, you said that really well. Like, I totally understand what you meant. And then another one was like, really? Like, I didn't even know. Do you think it made sense? Like, I wasn't sure. And they would, like, compliment each other on making sense. I was like, what's happening? I never understood it.
I mean, that's, like, a very real thing. So I was wondering, what are some other white woman-specific microaggressions? Because I think I think I probably know about a lot of them. I want to either be like, oh, we say that to each other too, or like, oh, okay, now I know to cross this off to do. I feel like I know obvious, like, touching hair ones.
Hair ones. So I used to work at Victoria's Secret through high school, which was a nightmare. But when we had sales goals at Victoria's Secret, so every hour you're supposed to sell like X amount of bras. And I had this boss who was this tiny little white lady, and she was just so irritating to me. And whenever I went, we have to wear headsets so we can all hear each other and talk to each other. So whenever I would hit my sales goal, she would get on the headset and say, "You go, girl," to me and me only.
Only you.
Not to any of the other white girls, not to Kelsey, not to Stacey, not to Abby. Nobody. Just me. And so from then on, I've always associated like, "You go, girl," or like, like all that shit. It's like, absolutely not. But I have seen white women say like, "You go, girl," to each other. But when someone says it, when a white woman says it to me, I'm just like, fuck you. We're not sister girls. We're not cool.
Oh my God.
Like, I get so irritated by that. It's like, "You go, girl," and like sister friend. Like being called sister or sister friend or whatever. It's just like over familiarity.
Well, that's clearly like appropriation too, I would say.
Yeah, I would say. That's just, it's too much. But yeah, for me, it's like, do not say "you go, girl" to me.
Dang.
Like, cannot.
Okay, I just have to say both of these things are like encouragement.
It's like, basically, I don't want any white woman to talk to me.
Well, you really set yourself up badly.
I know, I really did. I really did with this very show. Is it just that
encouragement or like approval is very easy to come across as like...
It's like patronizing. It sounds patronizing. And also, my impression is that they think I'm welcome. Like, I will welcome this, like, encouragement. Whereas my mindset is like, like, I do not need your encouragement. Like, I'm fine. But they're, like, when my boss used to say, "You go, girl," she thought as if I would be like, "Yep, I did well. I got a you go, girl. I'm doing great." And I was like, fuck you. I'm trying to sell these bras so I can leave.
Well, that's clearly... I mean, that's much more clear to me because she didn't say it to anyone else in this specific... arena. Like, it's very blatant.
Yes.
It's very blatant. But if she had said "you go, girl" to everyone, would you still have been as pissed?
I think I still would have been irritated. Not as pissed, but I think I still would have been irritated. Because, I think it's just the assumption that I am waiting for your approval. When the reality is, nah.
That's really rough. I want to be complimentary to people.
Yeah, no, I totally understand the instinct, especially noting that, like, inter-white lady conversations, it's the same words.
It's 90% "you go, girl," that was articulate.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And the thing is, also, inter-black women conversations, it's not like we aren't encouraging each other. It just sounds different coming from a white mouth. Like, I'm like, leave me alone. Like, I don't need you to tell me I hit the sales goal, Kelsey. I got it. Even though she was my boss. Like, I was just like, fuck you.
Jeez.
Not open to it at all.
Damn.
So I think there are ways. And the thing is, you wouldn't know this unless you get called out. No. But I think that if you do get called out, like, you can still encourage someone, but find a synonym. Like, okay, "you go, girl" was my trigger, right? But if she would have said, like, "Great job," that would have been fine.
My personal check with whether something is going to sound like AVE is to think in my head, would this fit in to something that one of the muses in Hercules would say?
And if it is, then you can't say it.
Then I don't say it.
And I look just like the little chubby one, too.
Like, I literally, in my head, it goes, "We are the muses." And then they start doing the, like, shimmy. And then I'm like, would they say this? I shouldn't say.
I can't believe that.
You know, not trying to erase the real times it's racist, but I think there's a lot of times when we say things and we just have no idea why it would piss you off. I just want to tell people I think there's other women look cool. I just want to be like, "You look really cool."
I mean, there's definitely a way to do it, but I do also experience that defensiveness. Or, like, if people ever compliment.
I don't even think it's defensiveness, even. It's just I do get sometimes a strong feeling of, like, "Who asked you?"
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Oh, sorry." Just, like, thought you looked cool.
Dang.
But, like, I get it. Mm-hmm. Just sucks. Not for me. In general, it sucks that racism and slavery have occurred.
And we're circling back to slavery.
Interesting.
We always do.
But would you be like, white women don't talk to black women?
No, I would just say literally find a synonym. Like, there are specific, like, with something like articulate. If you get called out.
But I don't even mean for that. I mean, like, should I just not compliment black women? I don't know.
I mean, I think you can compliment people, but...
Again, like if a man asked me, should I just not compliment women I don't know? I'd be like, yeah, you idiot.
Yeah, don't. No, but it is different woman to woman. But I think it's just like, somehow find a way to compliment a black woman while removing the assumption that she doesn't already know that. Because sometimes some people, like, point to me and be like, "Oh, your outfit's cool," saying it to me as if it's like, it would never occurred to me that I look cool. And it's kind of like, or they could be like, digging that outfit. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, like, your outfit's cool. It's like, I know that.
What the fuck? What's the difference between...
Because digging that outfit is, that's my opinion, and your outfit's cool is definitively telling you something that you didn't ask to be told.
Okay, well, once again, digging that outfit is something that does not pass the Muse sniff test, so I could not say that.
Fine, okay, how would you say it? Dang, yeah, they're all AAV. Sorry, unfortunately I'm black, because I was going to say, really feeling that look.
I can't say that. I cannot say that.
Just be like, I love that dress. Literally, I love that dress is better than that dress is cool. Because it's like, that dress is cool. It's such a definitive statement. Like, as if your opinion is mandate. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I love your dress. I would always be receptive to that. But,
okay,
you know.
I'll think on this more.
But it's also like, sometimes it doesn't even matter the words. It just, the positionality will dictate how I interpret it.
There's definitely like a weird navigation of like how things feel when they're said that's like hard to sense. And again, why I think most of these things I'm talking about with articulate have happened on Facebook because it's impossible to read tone. And so of course, why wouldn't black women react that way to any white woman saying that? Like, it's impossible to tell anything.
Like, with articulate, it's like, that's established. But sometimes a white woman will say something, and it just bothers me, and I'm not sure why.
I mean, that's fine, too. I feel that way about men.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I don't want it to be like, what am I allowed to do? I just want to know more about what comes across weird, because I think a lot of it, white women are not aware of how we come across in certain situations because we're not facing the same thing. Literally, I hate to keep making this comparison, but the same way that I think a lot of men just have no idea how they come across.
No, not at all. Like, following me down a dark alley and they're like, what? It's the only way out.
Exactly. And I think a lot of white women things are that way as well.
Jeez.
And I'm interested in how to learn more because it's not like there's like the White Woman's Guide to Microaggressions. Don't do these things.
There should be. Oh my goodness. Teen Vogue, get on it.
Right?
Do it. That'd be a great article.
And if they are ever talked about, it's like, everyone knows not to do this. I'm like, no, they don't. That's why they do it.
Exactly. They don't know.
Yeah.
They need a guide.
Anyways.
I'll think on more. I'm sure there's many.
And that's our show. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to the stuff we mentioned today. And don't forget to send us your questions via email or voice recording to FYI@she'sallfatpod.com.
Please make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's super important in making sure people find the show. And we really want to be worthy. Please. If you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, we'll give you a shout out on the pod next week.
She's All Fat is created, produced, and hosted by us, Sophie Carter-Kahn and April K. Quio. We are an independent production. If you'd like to support the work we do, you can join our Patreon by visiting patreon.com/she'sallfatpod. When you pledge to be a supporter, you'll get all sorts of goodies and extra content. For this week's episode, we will eventually post more information, resources, and readings about Amy Schumer, just for our Patreon supporters.
Our music was composed and produced by Carolyn Pennypacker Riggs. Our website was designed by Jesse Fish, and our logo is by Britt Scott. This episode was mixed and edited by Maria Wertel. Our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter handles are @She'sAllFatPod. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and wherever else you get your pods.
Bye. And don't forget to send us your questions via email or voice recording to FYI@she'sallfatpod.com.
Sorry, you just sound like you're like choking back tears.
I'm just tired. I'll say it again.
I'm so sorry.
I'll say it again.
If you want to take us.
I heard it as well.
Tears.
I heard it as well. I'll say it again.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.